My family, in order to compensate the real daughter, intentionally fabricated medical records to claim that I was seriously ill. Using this as a pretext, they transferred all my resources to her. I accepted this silently. At the press conference, my father announced my illness, and I suddenly coughed up blood. Afterwards, they praised me for being understanding, and even Howard ended our Cold War and spoke to me. This is the right thing to do. Hill has been left out for years while you enjoyed her fortune. You should compensate her with us. I just smiled bitterly without saying a word. He didn't know that I was truly ill and really about to leave. Before I go, I want to meet my biological parents. According to Hill, they favored sons over daughters and lacked responsibility, having abandoned her early to seek their own pleasures, leaving her to suffer alone in an orphanage. Stubborn as I am, I had someone find out where they were. When Hill found out, she smashed my phone, tears streaming down her face. She cried out, "Bringing back the people who bullied me. Are you trying to disgust me? How can you be so selfish?" I wanted to argue, but the pain in my organs left me only the strength to give a wry smile. She had reunited with her family. I too longed to reunite with mine. I was about to die. Couldn't I even see them once? I mustered all my energy to look at her. "I've given everything back to you. This is my only request." Before I could finish, her slap landed on my face. "You have no right to make demands after living as the Smith family's daughter for 23 years. Because of you, I suffered and was bullied outside, and I lost 23 years of love from my parents. Those things were rightfully mine. Returning them is only right. You can never truly repay what you owe me." Her slap left my head ringing, blurring my hearing and vision. Was I about to die just like that? When I opened my eyes again, the clock on the wall had completed 2 full cycles. Hill had left, and someone was sitting beside my bed, the familiar scent of osmanthus. It was my mother. Since Hill's return, it had been a while since I last saw her. Struggling to open my eyes, I finally made out her expression, indifferent, tinged with disappointment, and a careful concern she dared not fully express. She stared at my face and asked, "Did Hill hit you?" I didn't respond. She sighed. "I can't blame her for hitting you. You went too far searching for those irresponsible people. Wasn't that just to provoke her?" I said. "Hill was rescued from earthquake debris at the age of 5 and was sent to the orphanage afterwards, not abandoned." "That's your assumption," she replied. "Hill saw them board a rescue vehicle without her. She followed, but they didn't stop. Before that, they often hit and scolded her, despising her for not being a boy. That earthquake was their perfect excuse to abandon her. Why would you seek them out?" I clutched the jade amulet in my hand, my gaze stubborn and defiant. "Your coming to see me might upset her again." My mother's expression shifted slightly, frowning. "Not this time. I'm here to take you to her film's opening ceremony." A breeze passed by as I closed my eyes. "Can I not go?" my mother blurted out. "That's not possible. Your fans know how much effort you've put into this film. If you don't go, just say that Hill brought funds into the group and stole your role." They said. I didn't even have the strength to resist, and my mother just pushed me out in the wheelchair. There were a lot of people at the scene, and most of them were my fans. They were holding signs with my name, wishing me a speedy recovery. Everyone was crying. I wanted to cry too. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to act in many more dramas for them to see. Leaning down, my mother whispered in my ear, "Hurry up and spit out some blood to make everyone believe you're really sick. Come on, spit it out. Didn't I just give you a blood capsule? Bite into it, and you'll have blood." The suppressed pain surged up rapidly, and my vision was splattered with red. The crowd was shocked, and my mother took the opportunity to whisk me away. This way, not only could she suppress the rumors of my feigned illness, but it also avoided overshadowing Hill. Just before I passed out, I heard my mother's puzzled voice. "This blood capsule is quite realistic. It smells just like real blood." The jade plaque was stained with blood, and I asked my agent, Sis May, to clean it for me. Hill had given it to me with a cold face the day he returned. It was engraved with the words, "Peace and Joy," and at the bottom, it was signed, "Mom, Nina." She said it was a cheap item that my biological parents had bought for her, yet I could smell a faint scent of gardenias from it, as if I could see a gentle woman carefully polishing a fine jade plaque under her tool. Sis May held my hand tightly, her eyes red. "Listen, let's go for treatment again." I swallowed the blood in my mouth and asked her, "Is 7 days enough?" "I'm afraid that's all I have left." She pressed back tears and shook her head. It's not enough, just wait a bit longer, you know I'm not very capable. If it wasn't for meeting a talented artist like you, I wouldn't have made it to being a top agent. Finding people isn't my forte, you need to live a long, long time, while I slowly find them and bring them to you. Don't waste your effort anymore, I've intercepted all your people, Howard said emotionlessly as he approached, his black coat adorned with a few ribbons, seemingly just coming from a launch event. Sis May was frantic. Mr. Howard, this is too much. I spent my own money to hire people, what right do you have to stop me? Just because your family is powerful, can you bully people like this? His expression was cold and indifferent. Ignoring Sis May, he looked me up and down, his eyes softening slightly. You still have great acting skills, maintaining your state even off camera, he said, squatting down, his long fingers caressing my face, the turmoil in his eyes intensifying. You've lost a lot of weight, you've worked hard, take a year off. Wait until Hill is stable. And then I'll help you return to the peak of your career. In the meantime, just treat it as if you've taken on the role of a terminally ill patient. Just focus on acting. I stared at this man I had known since childhood, feeling inexplicably emotional. I really loved him. He often had to protect me, but I was too proud, never really asking him for anything. But now, I had to make an exception. Howard, I want to meet my biological parents too. I found myself in tears, which he gently wiped away with his hands. I can help you find them, but you have to promise me one thing. He paused for a few seconds under my gaze before hesitantly speaking. Hill also wants to marry me. The psychologist said it's just an impulsive emotional reaction, a manifestation of her fear of loss. Your family has discussed it and decided to indulge her by arranging a wedding for us. Once she returns to normal, I'll divorce her and marry you. After all, the wedding preparations with you were almost complete. We just need to change the bride's name. You've always been understanding and wouldn't want to put me in a difficult position, right? I blinked, feeling somewhat dazed. If I don't agree, you won't let me see my parents. He took that as a confirmation. I was indeed a bit disappointed and wanted to be angry with him, but considering my limited time left, I didn't want to waste it on these trivial matters. It might be better to use his help to fulfill my last dream. Fine, but you must find them within 7 days. He smiled, leaned down, and kissed my lips. I knew you're the best. I gave a wry smile. After all, this was always meant for her. Once it's settled, there will be no lingering obligations. He frowned. I won't comment on the matters of the Smith family, but I will always be yours. Howard only wants to marry you, Wenny. I had heard him say this since middle school. I believed it then, but not anymore. I never imagined that I would be afraid to open my eyes, fearing that all I would see was darkness. It wasn't until something shattered the glass that I abruptly opened my eyes. Chaos ensued at home for about 10 minutes before I was forcibly taken to the living room where my family and Howard were gathered. The butler came in to report. We've figured it out. It was done by fans of Miss Hill. They were misled by rumors online, believing that the young lady had erred by having an affair and came to exact justice. The butler, who had watched me grow up and always cared for me, glanced at me before adding, I also found out that these messages were sent from Miss Hill's account. In the suffocating silence, several pairs of eyes scrutinized Hill as she bit her lower lip. My father spoke up. It must have been a hater who hacked Hill's account. Hill interrupted him with a defiant look. No, it was me. I was the one who spread the rumors. Why shouldn't I? When her fans called me a homewrecker, I was merely fighting fire with fire. I was too weak to argue, but couldn't help responding. They weren't wrong. Hill stood up and glared at me, a homewrecker. If you hadn't taken my place, I would have been the one married to Howard. We were never betrothed as children, I reminded her, unable to retort. She pursed her lips, her face turning red with frustration. And soon tears fell. My mother hugged her and comforted her briefly, then turned to me. What's done is done. If we don't put it this way, everyone would continue to slander Hill as the other woman. It would be different if you were the one who cheated. Indeed, if I had been unfaithful, Howard breaking up with me to marry someone else would seem justified, a satisfying twist in a drama. My mother's look conveyed pity as she said, for now, we need to prioritize Hill, Wenny. You'll have to bear some hardship, my father sighed. Compared to the past grievances Hill endured, this is nothing. Let them talk. We'll protect you. Are you still afraid of being hurt? Suddenly, I started coughing violently. coughing so hard brought a flush to my pale face, a sickly sort of bloom, like a flickering back to light. Howard watched me, his frown deepening. At that moment, Hill stepped in front of me and looked down coldly. Addicted to playing sick, are you? You think a couple of coughs will make everyone cater to you? Let me show you what real pain looks like. A breeze passed, and through the blur, I saw her pull down her clothing to reveal a large expanse of skin on her back, crisscrossed with dents, old scars. Everyone gasped and crowded around her, tears in her eyes. She pointed and accused. Those worse than pigs and dogs forced me to work from the time I was not even 5. If anything displeased them, I was beaten and scolded. I had to wash clothes, mop floors, and prepare vegetables by hand daily. Any rest brought the whip down on my back. Your own mother called me a prostitute, said I was dirtier than a rag. But you, what were you doing at that time? You lived in my house, ate my food, slept in my big bed, living a princess's life every day. I clenched the jade pendant in my hand, staring intently at her. A one-sided story isn't proof enough. Wenny, Howard stood up, thoughtfully pulling Hill's clothes back on and wiping away her tears. Though it sounds harsh, infidelity is indeed the fastest solution. Wenny, you'll release a statement soon, admitting your mistakes and wishing us well. That should calm the storm quickly. His eyes were deep and mysterious, just like when he had threatened me using my parents' situation the day before yesterday. I understood then. My time was running out. I could only nod. Sis may help me write the statement. She sent it out amidst tears, cursing Howard and my family in the process. Afterwards, she was engrossed in battling the relentless wave of negative comments online. Silently, I edited a tweet on my account, set to post in 7 days, attaching a recording. I wrote a lot initially, then deleted everything, leaving only one line. To everyone who likes me, I love you. See you in the next life. At 4 a.m. Howard insisted on taking me to the airport. There might be paparazzi outside, so I won't get out of the car. You guys go ahead and be safe. Sis May gave him a silent eye roll as she helped me out of the car. I stared at his profile, fleeting memories of our time together flashing before my eyes. I asked him, has it snowed on Baishan? His eyes flickered slightly, lips pressed thinly. Can't go this year. Once I divorce Hill, I'll take you there. I smiled. That's a pity. You asked me for 5 years and I never went. The only time I wanted to, you changed your mind. Howard, a man who seems cold on the outside but is incredibly romantic at heart, sometimes like a little girl, wanting to see the snow. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his head bowed in thought. As I turned to leave the car, he grabbed my wrist. Don't be like this, Wenny. We have plenty of time left, plenty of chances in the future. Don't blame Hill either. Once you meet your biological parents this time, you'll understand her. Seeing that I didn't respond, he sighed. Hill is suffering because of me. Back then, if I hadn't carelessly swapped your tags in a moment of folly, you two wouldn't have been switched. I gave a bitter smile. Yes, even you know it's your fault. Yet everyone blames me. He slowly let go of my hand, his eyes turning indifferent. It's getting late. You should go inside. I'll come to pick you up in 3 days. Tears fell on the back of my hand from Sis May. I didn't respond or look back, just walked away. Getting farther and farther from him, sitting on the plane for 8 hours left me utterly exhausted. Upon landing, I couldn't hold back anymore and vomited blood in the restroom. Sis May rushed me to the hospital immediately, and many saw. By the time I regained consciousness, an hour had passed. The internet was flooded with news of my severe illness and hospitalization. Everyone guessed my days were numbered. Some even prematurely wrote eulogies. They said this was my retribution. Sis May handed me her phone. Your parents have called you many times, and as you instructed, I didn't answer. Coincidentally, my mom's call came through again. Wenny, we've seen the news. And you did really well. Your acting was very convincing. And the issues over at Hill's End have been completely overshadowed, she said. Sis May showed me the news. It turned out that Hill had a rough day on set, got scolded by the director and threw a tantrum, causing a halt in production. Initially, it had caused quite a stir, but now it was overshadowed by my own situation. Seizing the opportunity, my parents excused Hill's behavior by saying she was upset because of my illness, claiming it wasn't intentional. The audience bought it. Wenny, do another favor for Hill. She just tweeted something. Go like it, so everyone knows you sisters have a good relationship and won't speculate maliciously about her. I checked Hill's tweet and saw her update. On set, Howard was feeding her, affectionately wiping away a grain of rice from her mouth. Her caption read, "Being loved makes one fearless." I texted back to my mom, "I don't have the energy to like it." She clicked her tongue and said, "You and your games with mom, huh, yes. I know we've put you through a lot lately, but you must understand, you're not my biological child, and there are certain advantages you've had, you know. Speaking of which, it's really the fault of your biological parents. If they loved you like we love Hill, you wouldn't be in this situation today." She continued, "Actually, with you not at home, there's a void in my heart, and your dad feels the same. Ever since you moved out, he's been suffering from insomnia. This home still needs you. Finish up what you're dealing with and come back soon." I hung up the phone. The doctor approached me with a grave expression. I asked him directly, "How long do I have?" He looked at me with a face full of regret, his eyes filled with sympathy. After taking the medicine, I barely managed to muster enough energy to make it to my destination. Before me stood a grand villa, from which loud cursing could be heard. As I approached, I saw a man and woman, both in their 40s or 50s. Scolding a young girl, "You ungrateful brat, why bother sending you to university? I have money, but it's for my son, not for you. I won't let you squander my money," the man yelled. The woman pushed and hit the girl, ordering her to wash clothes by hand. I turned to leave, and the shouting behind me stopped. "Hey girl, are you looking for someone?" I paused and threw a jade pendant at him. He caught it and immediately exclaimed, "Hey, isn't this the jade pendant I gave to that worthless girl? How did it end up with you? Could it be, you are my real daughter?" The woman approached. "It must be true, you look just like the girl on TV. We are your biological parents. We don't need you to take care of us in old age, but you need to give us 1 million all at once since your brother still needs money for his education." Fine, I quickly transferred them a deposit of 100,000 yuan. They looked at me sideways. "Daughter, you're really unlucky to have been born a girl. We prefer boys over girls. We just don't like girls." I sneered. "You're pretending to be my parents and asking me for money. I've already called the police. Prepare for jail. The charge of fraud will hold." The two exchanged panicked looks and quickly knelt down. "Miss, we're just common folk paid to do this job. Please don't call the police. If you don't want me to call the police, then confess everything." As I suspected, they were hired by Howard to mislead me. The goal was to make me believe Hill's words and obediently return to the Smith family to be manipulated. Howard was well informed. He quickly called my cell phone. "I'm doing this for your own good. You have no real emotional connection with those two. Even if you met them, what could it change? Could you really abandon the Smith family and me to go live with them?" "Yes, I have no evidence to prove everything Hill said is true. But think about it, could a 5-year-old child lie? If she wasn't deeply hurt, why would she harbor such resentment? Come back, Wenny, stop worrying about these meaningless things. I'll pick you up at the airport, and besides, we need you at tomorrow's engagement party." My heart suddenly ached. I remembered how many years ago he had chased after me, promising word by word that he would never lie to me, never do anything to make me unhappy. I said I didn't believe him, but deep down, I had staked my whole life on trusting him. "Howard, we can't go back," I said, hanging up the phone. He called frantically, but annoyed. I blocked him. About half an hour later, Hill called me. "Wenny, how could you do this just before my wedding? Are you trying to ruin things for me?" "Fine, then, since you really want to see that couple, go ahead. They're at the Southern Cemetery. Once you've seen them, just come back." Within minutes, my mother also called. "What exactly did you say to Howard?" "He said he'll cancel the engagement party tomorrow if you don't come back. You know Hill has a heart condition. We're doing this for her treatment. She's not like you, raised healthy without any troubles. Why can't you be more tolerant?" I couldn't help but retort, "It's clearly not my fault. Why should I indulge her unreasonable demands? Because you are the one who benefited. Don't you understand? Even if you did nothing wrong, you've enjoyed what should have belonged to Hill. Right or wrong, you're still in the wrong." I never expected to hear such words from my mother. Everyone says I'm the apple of my parents' eye. For me, they didn't want a second child, fearing it would divide the love meant for me. Now, I feel a lump in my throat. "I'm sorry, it's my fault. You don't have to worry about me fighting with Hill for things anymore. The Southern Cemetery is so cold, and wrapping myself in 2 down jackets doesn't help. The caretaker told us that the garden is filled with victims of an earthquake. Many were buried hastily as their identities couldn't be determined. My eyes linger on the myriad of fresh flowers scattered all around, and in a daze, I seem to see a gentle couple waving at me. I visited the room where the belongings of the deceased were managed. Some items had been claimed, others not. Sis May handed me an old camera. Look, there's a name sticker on it. Nina, my birth mother, Nina. I turned on the camera and saw them alive again. The camera started recording from 6 in the morning. I saw a gentle face that looked somewhat like mine. Her lips curled into a beautiful smile. Her voice soft. Phil's youthful face appeared next. Mom, holding her tenderly and patiently coaxing, said, "Did my darling wake up? Today we're going to the place you mentioned, traveling. Look, this is the small backpack Dad bought especially for you, and this, a jade pendant Mom made by hand. Do you like it?" Hill, her eyes still sleepy, glanced at the backpack and jade pendant and looked up to ask, "Is it valuable?" Mom kissed her cheek. "Darling, many things in this world can't be measured with money. The love Mom and Dad have for you is endless." Hill pouted but said nothing. The family of 3 embarked on a joyful journey. Hill didn't have to walk at all. Either she was riding on Dad's neck or being carried by Mom, and whatever she wanted to eat, she just had to open her mouth. Dad often said, "Does my little princess have any other wishes? Dad will surely fulfill them for you." Hill said she wanted a lot of money. She also said, "Mom, if I become an orphan, can I live in a big mansion then?" She naively thought that orphanages were big like mansions. Mom comforted her with a pained heart. "Mom and Dad won't let you become an orphan. They were gentler than I imagined. They would sing lullabies to their daughter before sleep and take care of her morning routine." The last few shots were of Mom recording a video for Dad and daughter after getting up. Suddenly, the earth shook violently, and the camera fell to the side. Both parents shielded Hill in their arms at the same time. She remained unharmed in the narrow space formed by their arms. Mom's faint voice was captured by the camera. "Sweetheart, Mom and Dad can't grow old with you. I'm really sorry. You need to live well, go to college, do what you love, be with the people you like. You're supposed to die peacefully in your bed 100 years from now, not here." There was no sound from Dad, but his broad body firmly held up the collapsing wall. A steel bar pierced his throat, and his blood stained Hill's face red. Sis May covered the camera, preventing me from seeing any more. I was coughing violently, and she quickly took out some medicine. "Take this, it'll make you feel better. Here, have some." She cried so ugly, tears and snot streaming down, smearing on my clothes. I gently pressed her hand and shook my head. "No more. Can you do one last thing for me?" She cried even harder. I turned my head towards the flowers spread far and wide. "After I die, scatter my ashes here. I don't want to keep Mom and Dad waiting too long. I'm glad I met you in this life. If there's a chance, let's collaborate again in the future." "Sis May, I can't see you anymore." My voice was so faint, as if spoken with just a breath. I wasn't sure if she could hear me clearly. Darkness fell before my eyes, and all I could hear was Sis May's amplified crying. Then, even the crying faded away. Howard's perspective. In the early hours of our engagement party day, I waited at the airport entrance for 3 hours, but when he never arrived, my panic escalated, far surpassing the dread I felt when she said we could never go back to how things were. Suddenly, I pieced together all the little details: her gaunt face, her cough that didn't care for occasion, and the way she would sleep deeply for hours on end. She had never been like this before, no matter how tired she was. I immediately called her father to ask about the situation. "Uncle, did you oversee the forging of Winnie's medical records?" There was a pause on the line. "What do you mean? Weren't you handling these matters?" His voice suddenly rose. "We thought you were behind this, and that you would handle it. We didn't interfere at all." "What are you implying now? Winnie's illness, is it real?" "But the medical record states that her condition is pulmonary." His voice trembled towards the end, even carrying a panicked sob. Lacking the courage to voice the sensitive details, my mind was reeling. Soon, Winnie's mother took over the phone, incessantly asking, "Where is Winnie? Where is our Winnie? Find her first." Without hesitation, I caught the next flight to the hospital where she was last seen. From the airport to the hospital, my heart pounded fiercely, wrapped tightly in fear and panic, nearly suffocating. When the doctor revealed her test results, I grabbed him by the collar, shaking him like a madman. "Who did you say has completely deteriorated lungs? How dare you curse her?" I ran out frantically, sprinting in the direction she had gone. I hoped that around the next corner I would see her, scolding me coldly for my heartlessness, or perhaps teasingly asking if I wanted to go to Baishan with her like she did that day. I want to go with you, Wenny. Can you come out and see me? The wind stung my face. I found nothing and ended up squatting on the ground, pulling at my hair and crying like a child. Suddenly, I suspected that this might be a trap Wenny set to stop me from marrying Hill. She had always been healthy. It was impossible for her to fall ill like this. It must be a setup. So, if I just went ahead with the wedding, would she then appear? Seizing what felt like an invisible lifeline, I rushed home and immediately announced that the wedding with Hill would proceed. I made sure the news spread nationwide. Hill wore Wenny's wedding dress, her face bearing a shy smile. In that moment, I thought I saw a smug triumph in the corner of her eyes. From the day she returned, my feelings for her were nothing but endless guilt. I wanted to make up for past mistakes, so I tried everything to fulfill her desires. Whatever she wanted, I provided. Selfishly, I thought that Wenny, being a part of my life, would understand and support me. I believed our relationship was strong enough to withstand anything. So I kept hurting her even knowing she was unhappy. I thought she couldn't leave me. After all, her parents and I had agreed to cut off her cards. Without financial support, she couldn't go far. Who made her trust us from a young age, entrusting all her money to her family. But I never anticipated that she could actually become sick. At that moment, Uncle Smith slowly brought Hill towards me. Countless cameras were pointed at us, declaring us a perfect match. Hill reached out her hand towards me, her eyes filled with anticipation. However, I was staring in the direction of the entrance, not reaching out to hold her hand. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds passed. My heart gradually sank. Hill's smile turned awkward, and she softly called my name. Just then, the door burst open. I widened my eyes in shock, instinctively swatted Hill's hand away, and pushed her aside as I rushed towards the entrance. The door flung open, and a gust of wind swept in, scattering cards through the air. One card stuck to my face, showing a young couple shielding a little girl beneath them, using their bodies to bear the weight of a collapsed building. The man's throat was pierced, the woman's face was crushed on one side, yet they still managed to create a small protective space with their arms, saving the little girl from death. That little girl was Hill. I was utterly surprised. It must have been Wenny who had uncovered the truth and come back to confront Hill. I thought correctly. She wasn't dead after all. As the wind died down, Wenny's agent walked in. I asked her, "Where's Wenny?" Uncle Smith and his wife were also anxiously grabbing her arm, asking where she was. The more anxious we became, the calmer she seemed, eventually letting out a mocking laugh. "Looking for her now, are you? A year ago, when Wenny said she felt unwell, where were you?" "Oh, I remember now. You were busy taking your biological daughter to Disneyland, walking with her on the beach, spending the money Wenny had earned to buy her luxury cars and mansions. Our Wenny, diagnosed with lung cancer at the hospital. The doctors said she could live longer with proper treatment, but you controlled her finances. When she asked for money, you gave her just a few thousand, fearing your biological daughter would be upset. As for you, Mr. Howard, you were even smarter, suggesting she pretend to be sick. Consequently, when Wenny said she was ill, not a single person believed her. You even smiled and told her, 'Get well soon.'" My head was pounding, feeling overwhelmed by a dense pain, and a foreboding sense grew stronger. I couldn't help but demand angrily, "Where is she? Tell me." Sis May slapped me hard, as if she wished she could kill me with the blow. "I won't answer you. I came here today to tell Hill that the so-called abuse by her foster parents was all in her head. Your foster parents didn't run away. They died protecting you in that earthquake." Hill lifted her veil, picking up the photos and declared, "That's not true. These were all fabricated by you. I am the only one who knows what really happened back then." Sis May sneered, her eyes fixed on the big screen. The screen showed a video of a family of 3 enjoying their everyday life. Hill was the little girl in the video. Compared to the earlier photo, this video was much more direct and powerful. I felt a deep remorse surging within me, regretting the things I had done to Wenny in the past. Her parents were even more furious, loudly questioning Hill why she had lied. The eyes of friends, family, and the media were all fixed on her as she slowly backed away. She fell to the ground, covering her face as she sobbed painfully. I was afraid that if I didn't make myself sound more pitiable, I wouldn't be able to compete with Wenny. "You wouldn't love me," I was just fighting for my own happiness. Is that wrong, Mrs. Smith slapped her, tears brimming in her eyes. You didn't need to lie to us. We wouldn't have treated you unfairly. But what did Winnie do wrong? What did her parents do wrong? They gave their lives to protect you, and yet you slandered her. Just thinking about how I spoke to my daughter for your sake, she choked up, unable to continue crying. Then, she ran to Sis May, knelt down before her, and begged, May, we realize our mistake now. Please let Winnie come back. We'll take her to the best doctor. We can surely cure her. Hill rushed over in a panic and embraced her mother. Mom, please don't abandon me. Winnie is just acting. She isn't really sick. I am your real daughter. Seeing that her mother was unresponsive, she turned to plead with her father. Dad, I'm your real daughter. Talk to Mom, will you? Was it just because I told a lie? Does she need to hit me over a stranger's lie? Enough. It's all because of you that we missed the best chance to take care of Winnie. If you hadn't always been so jealous and competitive with her, we wouldn't have ended up treating her so unfairly. Hill broke down, standing up and shouting, She's lying. She's not sick at all. Enough, Sis May said coldly. Looking at her, you know very well whether Winnie's illness is real or not. Before you even concocted the scheme to have her pretend to be sick, you accidentally saw her medical records and even searched online how long someone with her condition could live. Regarding this matter, it has come back to me. That afternoon, I saw the issue on Hill's computer. She told me she was just curious and had looked it up. It was also that same day that I thought of the idea to have Winnie fake an illness. Overwhelmed by sharp pain, I was almost choked up and couldn't speak. When Hill tried to argue, I suppressed the urge to hit her and told her to shut up. She bit her lip, looking at me with tears in her eyes, feeling wronged. You are my fiancé. How could you treat me like this? I am not your fiancé. I roared with all my might, wishing I could instantly sever all ties with her. I have never loved you, only felt guilt. But even this soul guilt was deceived out of me by you. You better pray that Winnie is all right, otherwise I will never let you off. She was stunned into silence by my shouting. I urgently asked Sis May, tell me, where is she? Sis May looked towards Hill and said with a smile, she knows best. After all, it was she who sent Winnie to the southern cemetery. We quickly surrounded Hill, pressing her for Winnie's whereabouts. Hill looked terrified and shook her head, claiming ignorance and asserting that it was a trick by Winnie to drive a wedge between us. I didn't believe her, nor did her biological parents. I grabbed her neck, nearly choking her to death. All I could think about was what I would do if Winnie was gone. Previously, I had thought about faking a marriage with Hill to annoy Winnie, so I had already planned a way out. That was to limit her spending and have someone monitor her 24 hours a day. This way, she couldn't leave me. But I never expected her to leave me in this manner. She was truly ruthless. Hill was driven mad by our torment. When she acted insane, we thought she was faking it. It wasn't until she jumped from the top floor without hesitation that we realized she truly had lost her sanity. In retrospect, it made sense. After that day, I revealed all the truths. Hill's lies and true face were exposed to the public eye, and like us, she became the target of everyone's criticism. She was rejected by all the drama crews and shows, facing astronomical fines for breach of contract. She had to sell all her properties to pay off her debts. This provoked Winnie's parents. They claimed that those were Winnie's belongings and dragged her out for a beating, leaving real bloody marks on her smooth back. I had her thrown into a swimming pool and only pulled her out when she was nearly suffocating, pressing her for Winnie's whereabouts. She always claimed ignorance. She said she wanted to start over, that she would not lie anymore and wanted to live well with us. We didn't help her. The Smith family building was filled with the cries of Winnie's parents from morning to night. Outside the yard, my people were posted. Under this dual pressure, Hill's mental state completely collapsed. The day she was taken to the psychiatric hospital, her parents cried again. It seemed they were crying not just for Winnie, but for her too. They came to me, attacking and questioning why I had swapped them years ago. I apologized, knelt down, and kowtowed to them. Uncle kicked me in the chest, pinning me to the ground and beating me fiercely. My face was covered in blood, and just when he was about to beat me to death, my people rushed in to tell us that Winnie had been found. I ran back to my room and changed into my neatest clothes. Winnie used to say she liked me in a light blue suit, so I picked out the nicest one I had to wear. She didn't like it when I was disheveled, so I washed my face and tidied myself up to meet her. I practiced my apology in front of the mirror. after much thought, I still felt that kneeling seemed more sincere. If she could forgive me and come back to me, I was willing to give everything. Her parents seemed even more anxious than I was. Their hair had turned white, their faces lined with many wrinkles, holding each other's hands tightly. Smith, what should I say when we see Wenny, our Wenny? She's been so ill. How has she been coping all these days outside? She started crying again. I focused on the road ahead, tightly clenching the wedding ring in my hand. It was the ring I had custom made for her a year ago. Eventually, the car stopped outside the funeral home. We looked at each other, feeling utterly cold. Sis May knocked on our car window indifferently. Come on out, we need your signatures for the cremation. She died the day before your wedding, and has been in the hospital morgue ever since. I really didn't want to notify you unless it was absolutely necessary for the signature. My aunt fainted. I walked a bit unsteadily, but still managed to make my way inside. She lay in the coffin, peaceful, her face devoid of any color. Hot tears streamed down my face as I reached out to touch her. Wenny, 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 I'm sorry, Wenny, I'm sorry. Can't you look at me just once? I want to go to Baishan. Let's go together, shall we? Her skin was ice cold, unresponsive. I was pulled away as I watched her being pushed into the cremation furnace. I knew I would never see her again. I went to Baishan alone to see the snow. After that day, people said there was a fool on the mountain, squatting at the edge of the cliff crying. They called the guards to prevent me from jumping. I wouldn't jump, because I already did. When I woke up, my parents slapped me and scolded me for being unfilial. That didn't deter my determination to die. I attempted suicide again in the hospital, and yet was saved again. They installed safety bars in my room and took away all sharp objects. I even tried to bite my tongue, while hospitalized. I suddenly heard people say that those who commit suicide don't go to the same place as those who die naturally. That scared me. From that day on, I decided to live properly. I traveled everywhere, recording the scenery at the time, and went back to show it to Wenny. Her parents visited her grave every month, keeping her tombstone very clean. They also wondered why she didn't visit them in their dreams. I also wanted to ask Wenny why she didn't come into my dreams. I asked this question year after year. Later on, Wenny's parents, depressed for many years, passed away early. I too became an old man, a hunched figure with white hair at 50, relying on my nephew's support to reach her tombstone. Wenny, still looking young, I felt so wronged. Why don't you ever come to see me? Do you hate me that much? Please, come at least once, will you? After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.